everyone, welcome to another Something Bad Thursday, and today I thought it would be interesting to discuss something that I think is on a lot of people's minds, especially around this time of year, where we're basically in the month of love, the month of Valentine's Day and such, and the rise for films that sort of appeal to sort of the masses, so to speak. That topic, as you can probably see by the title, is chick flicks. Now, chick flicks to me are different than romantic comedies. Romantic comedies are films where you can tell that there was a substantial amount of effort put into the product, even if ultimately people have their own certain reservations about the product. At least the product does what it, in a way that's smart, and not trying to pander to the audience. Chick flicks, on the other hand, I think are ones that try to gravitate towards a broader demographic, and in doing so, encompass things that I think result in the final product of the film, usually since we're talking films here, chick flicks, that end up being of really low quality. I'm gonna go over some of the reasons as to why I think chick flicks are in their sort of own category of bad. The problem with chick flicks is that they have a huge amount of estrogen. It's almost like an estrogen bomb, and when it explodes, there's like a nuclear reaction. Because there's just so much female in there that it doesn't really weigh out into the favor of the other gender. So again, I think with that being said, there's just a lot more bias for chick flicks to interpret it into the way of the female brain as opposed to the male brain. Again, I understand that their demographics are primarily women, but at the same time, I still feel that, certain aspects should be toned down so that the audience doesn't feel like they're overpowered, by the amount of estrogen. And what I mean by that is you get a ton of females into one room, and basically craziness just happens as a result. And that's usually how chick flicks operate. Everything goes crazy when there's a majority of women within the film, and usually that's what ends up happening with a lot of these chick flicks. Now, I think there are still some other things besides the fact that it's overpowering in the sense of gravitating towards the female demographic. There's also other things that I think make chick flicks low quality. Again, they really over-exaggerate those cliches. And trust me, they are the simple yet obnoxious ones, like girls screaming at one another, like when they go, "Oh my God!" When they go and, talk to their friends, they have to yell across "Oh my God!" That they have to make a huge scene over something that's not really a big deal. That's really not a big deal. And when multiple females do it, it's like, jeez. Okay, calm down. So again, there's just a lot of exaggeration, and there's a lot of, go girl, attitude within a lot of these films, which is another cliche that I can't stand. And it's just obnoxious, and it doesn't come off as something really genuine and worthwhile, and is again sort of representing again sort of the again, mass reaction, but not something that an audience wants to see. Like, we know that girls do this, but we don't want to see girls do this in a film because it's annoying. That I noticed, again, in particular, just the over exaggeration, and how they try to make things so colorful and you go lucky, and they try to shove that in your face, and it doesn't feel down to earth, it doesn't feel genuine, there doesn't feel like there's real emotion there. So, and again, as being a female, I can even admit that I'm a little bit more of an emotional one, but again, when those emotions don't feel really genuine, completely loses me. Usually chick flicks have horrible performances. Like, the acting is just, oh my, the acting is just so bad. It's just unbelievable. The level of bad performances that come out of these chick flicks. They usually are they're either very bland, or they tend to be sort of over exaggerated stereotypes. As opposed to being sort of more down to earth stereotype, it's an over exaggerated one. So yeah, and I think largely that has to do with, again, how the actors portray the character, and yeah, usually doesn't go over well. And they don't have clever stories. That's the thing a lot too about chick flicks, is usually a lot of the times things don't really happen of substance, and it doesn't end up becoming really clever or interesting or engaging. It just kind of becomes just your standard, we're not going to push any boundaries here or create something interesting. We're just going to portray everything as standard as we possibly can. And that's kind of what really bothers me about chick flicks. And again, there's no character along with the acting to really go with either, because either they are over exaggerated characters or they have no character whatsoever. So it's kind of these two extremes, either too much character or not enough character, and in doing so, we don't get characters that we ultimately want to root for, and we don't feel satisfied at the end of the film. And again, largely, not only are the stories not cleverly done, they just don't have a whole lot going on in them a lot of the time. Usually the stories just kind of meander, and then there's, again, the pointless scenes that end up taking place where you didn't need to have these scenes be put into the film. So yeah, there's just all of these checklists of problems. I could go on, but those are really the major ones that I could think of. And there's another thing too that I think I've noticed in not all chick flicks, but some, is the sort of gender war that they have going on within the film. That's one that bothers me to no end. And again, the primary focus is usually on women, and I understand if that's what you're going for, if you're trying to be a romantic comedy. But in order to get out of the chick flick stage, you gotta at least make your male characters at least somewhat identifiable or likable. They're usually in chick flicks, they're either bumbling doofuses, or they're like the Greek gods, like they're untouchable, and they don't have any flaws to them. And again, usually the males without flaws, they're usually just designed for the female checklist. Like, ooh, he has this, this. As opposed to portraying a real, actual, fully fleshed out human being. So yeah, that definitely what bothers me a lot about these chick flicks. And again, there is this. Not only is there an exaggeration of the characters sometimes in chick flicks, but there's also an exaggeration of the settings. Usually they're in either a big city, or they're out traveling, or they're out shopping. They're doing something that is totally consumer based. Totally appealing to the demographic, and not, and again, I'm not saying you can't show people shopping within a film, but the way that they show it in a lot of these chick flicks, it makes the women out to be really, really spoiled and really egotistical and really incapable of rational thought. And yeah, it's just something that severely bothers me, because it's just pandering and not not trying to um, not trying to go beyond the consumerism. You can show women shopping. It's just the way that you show it is important. And I think the way they show it is in a way that conveys a lot of bad aspects onto the characters, and the setting just makes them seem like they are spoiled and, well off. They didn't have to work for anything. They didn't have to do anything with their lives. So yeah, that's another thing that usually bothers me a lot about these ones. And also there's the pointless drama in chick flicks. Oh my lord. Pointless drama. Like you could insert anything else in there and it would have probably made more of a compelling story than this pointless drama that is put out in chick flicks. Usually that's sometimes with misunderstandings, but it's also through other means like these girls, they're not getting along with one another, and ooh, this one person's taking sides, and ooh, this one person did something bad, and blah blah blah, and it's just a uh pointless argument that could have been solved in a rational, realistic way. And they don't show it in that way here, and they don't. It's always has to be, ooh, there has to be some pointless drama in there, just so that we can extend the story further. Um, and a lot of the characters within chick flicks make really dumb decisions, like really, really unbelievably dumb decisions. Decisions where you go, would the average person make such a decision? But yeah, they're there, and they're present in a lot of these chick flicks. Now, again, I will admit I do have sort of my guilty pleasures when it comes to certain categories of chick flicks, in the sense that I find that certain aspects are there within chick flicks, but they're tolerable chick flicks. And then there's the romantic comedy, which I believe is a genuinely good film. And then there's the chick flicks that I'm talking about in this video. And these ones are just so unbelievably bad. I mean, like Sex in the City, like just that show makes me cringe. And again, the film too. They even made two films. They made a sequel to Sex in the City. Really, 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 really just bleh, bothers me. Um, you know, chick flicks like, again, The Ugly Truth, like I discussed in my previous Thursday video of what I would have done. Also, films like, again, Mamma Mia, playing up to that, that female audience there, even I'll say even Bridesmaids really falls into the chick flick category. I don't think it was horrible, but at the same time, there were just a lot of things within that film where you go, wow, the characters have made really dumb decisions, and wow, why should I even sympathize with these people? And they have pointless little bits of drama that happen throughout, and it's really not all that funny or all that entertaining. But I mean, again, there's sort of like a spectrum, I guess you could say, when it comes to the chick flicks. But as far as how bad they are, but a lot of the chick flicks that I'm talking about are just ones that are just there to appeal to the masses. What to expect when you're expecting, the Nicholas Sparks films, again, other chick flicks that you could put in that category. But again, chick flicks, I don't believe, are the same as romantic comedies or romantic dramas. They are their own category, and they're just basically films that pander to the audience. They pander to whatever the audience wants, as opposed to making an actual good product that everybody could end up liking. So yeah, I think that's the huge problem with chick flicks is they dive way into trying to appease the demographic and not so much of being intelligent or smart. And that's why I think there's just this level of chick flick that I can't stand. But again, it's like a spectrum. The ones that I really don't care for are usually ones that I tend to avoid even seeing, but when I do see trailers of them, I already cringe and go, really, why does this need to be in the theaters right now? But yeah, that's just really my thoughts when it comes to chick flicks. And I am not against romantic comedies. I enjoy romantic comedies. Heck, I even talked about romantic comedies. I talked about romantic dramas. Um, it's just that these films don't really do the romance all that well, and they don't really do the story all that well, and they don't even do the comedy all that well, and usually all of it really pretty much ends up falling flat by the time the film is finished. So, yeah, they're just forgetful. They're not things that you're gonna remember in 20 years. They're just designed to be woman candy, pretty much, and be cutesy for the sake of being cutesy, um, and trying to be funny even though they really can't be funny. So yeah, there's just a lot of problems with them, and again, it kind of goes on a spectrum here, but the ones that I'm talking about really do have a lot of these elements that I've mentioned in there. But ultimately, I think that's really all I can say when it comes to this topic. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, there's just these films that come out every year. You'll see them, you'll hear about them, and you'll see trailers, and you can tell whether or not it's a chick flick, or you can tell whether or not it is a genuine romantic comedy or a romantic drama or a dramedy or whatnot. You'll be able to tell, and I think a lot of that just has to do with how it is marketed. Is it marketed as something intelligent and a more smarter demographic, or is it for the masses? That's kind of what you have to do when you look at these trailers, and it's easy to tell. It's easy to tell which ones are the chick flicks, and it's easy to tell which ones are the genuine good ones, I think. But I think that's really ultimately all I can say. But again, if there are any questions, comments, concerns, be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.